students, happy to see you all here. Today I am here with the topic Origin and Growth of Madras. Origin and Growth of Madras. Madras, which is called as Chennai today, it is also nicknamed as Detroit of Southern Asia because of its huge automobile production, and it is one of the important city with more industries, more population and with more job opportunities. It is not only the important city in India but also important city in the world. But the same Madras before 17th century, it was actually agricultural land. The area surrounding Madras was filled with paddy fields. So the area which is well known for agriculture, it has turned to be an industrialized city. How this changes has taken place? To know about this, we have to move back in the history. That is, to the earliest stages of British commercial enterprises in India. So the British company, that is English East India Company, it was started on 1600. In 1600 it was started to trade with many countries in the world. After 12 years of starting this company, they got the rights to trade with India. So they got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Jahangir to trade with India. In 1613, they starting their first factory in Surat, that is in Gujarat. Surat, which is located in the west coast along the sides of Arabian Sea. They are starting the first factory. But the main target of the East India Company was to start a factory in the east coast of India. So what is the reason they have to start a factory in the east coast? Because the east coast of India was filled with lot of natural resources. So once the East India Company could start a factory in the eastern coast of India, it will be easy for the East India Company to utilize all the resources and they can make more profit out of it. To make more profit, they were trying to establish a factory in the east coast of India, that is along the sides of Bay of Bengal. But there is a problem in establishing a factory in the east coast, because most of the places along the sides of Bay of Bengal are frequently hit by cyclones. So the East India Company was in a long search to find a place which is free from most of the cyclone. So after a long search, they came to know a place called Masulipatinam. Masulipatinam in coastal Andhra. This is a place which is not frequently affected by cyclone. So the East India Company found this is the best place to start the factory. And the factory was established in Masulipatinam. But unfortunately, after the factory was established, the real disaster hit Masulipatinam. That is not cyclone but famine. Because of the failure of monsoon, there was drought in Masulipatinam. The drought which prevailed for many days, it has led to famine, shortage of food production. So the famine continued for many days in Masulipatinam. And the East India Company took lot of efforts to save their factory, to make the production to continue even during the time of famine. But all their effort ended up in vain. So they could not make much profit from the Masulipatinam factory. Now, one of the important person named Francis Day, one of the member of Masulipatinam Factory Council, is moving on a long search to find another place in the east coast of India to set up their factory. After a long search, once again by Francis Day, he got an offer to start their factory in Madrasapatnam. Francis Day is getting an offer to start the factory in Madrasapatnam. After getting this offer, Francis Day is moving to inspect Madrasapatnam. So after inspection, Francis Day found that Madrasapatnam is a place which is best suited to start the factory. So now legally they have to get the permission from the ruler of Madrasapatnam to set up the factory. So Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak, he was actually the ruler of the regions of Madrasapatnam. So Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak was under the control of another king called Raja of Chandragiri. Under Raja of Chandragiri, Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak was governing the area of Madras, Madrasapatnam. So the grant for the land to the East India Company was given by Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak. The deed, the agreement to start the factory in the land of Madras was signed by Francis Day and another person called Andrew Cogan. Andrew Cogan, who is a chief of the Masulipatinam factory. So both Francis Day and Andrew Cogan, they signed the deed to start up the factory and also to construct the fort in Madrasapatnam. So now after signing the deed officially, so they got the permission to start the factory and also to construct a fort in Madras. So after signing the deed in the year of 1639, the deal was officially confirmed. And after that they started to construct a first fort in Madras. The first fort was constructed in Madras. And the construction was over by 1640. That is the first factory, the first fort set up in Madras. And it was named as Fort St. George. Fort St. George. And it came to operation on 23rd April 1640. 23rd April 1640. It came to operation. So now this area where this Fort St. George is located is called as Fort St. George Settlement. Fort St. George Settlement. And this was the principal settlement of the British till the year of 1774. This Fort St. George Settlement, this was the principal settlement of the British in South India till 1774. Till 1774, it was a principal settlement of the British. So this area where the Fort St. George is located is called as the White Town. The area where the Fort St. George is located is called as the White Town. And the surrounding area where the local population live is called as the Black Town. So the area where the Fort St. George is located is called as the White Town, and the surrounding area where the local population live, it is called as the Black Town. Both this Black Town and White Town together comprise Madras. Both this Black Town and White Town together it formed the Madras. So we know that Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak, he gave the official grants for the British to start the factory in Madrasapatnam. So at the time when the agreement was signed, he was under the control of Raja of Chandragiri. Now that Raja of Chandragiri was succeeded by another king who was called as Sriranga Rayulu. Sriranga Rayulu. Now the new king came to power. Now the grants given to the British, the time period was over. Once again, in the year of 1645, a new grant was signed between the British and Sriranga Rayulu. The new grant was signed, which is called as Srirangarayapatnam. A new grant was signed to continue their factory in Madrasapatnam. So by signing this deed, they got the permission for some more years to run their factory in Madrasapatnam. Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak, who officially granted this land to Britishers, he want this area to be named as Chennapatnam. He wanted the name of the area to be called as Chennapatnam. Okay, on behalf of his father, to honor his father Chennappa Nayak, Dharmala Venkatapati Nayak wanted the name of this area to be called as Chennapatnam. But Britishers officially called this place as Madrasapatnam. Britishers never opted for the name Chennapatnam, but they called this place as Madrasapatnam. So it came to be called as Madrasapatnam. So this is about Madras, Madrasapatnam. There is another term used here is Madras Presidency. Madras Presidency. So Madras Presidency is the administrative subdivision of the British in the south. This is the administrative subdivision of the British in the south. So Madras Presidency is a very big area. It does not compromise only Tamil Nadu, Madras Presidency. The whole Tamil Nadu, the northern portions of Kerala, some portions of Karnataka, Rayalaseema, coastal Andhra, then some portions of southern Odisha, Lakshadweep, this all compromises and forms Madras Presidency. This Madras provinces. So what are the areas? We have whole Tamil Nadu, northern portions of Kerala, some portions of Karnataka, Rayalaseema, the coastal districts of Andhra, southern portions of Odisha, Lakshadweep Island, this all compromises of Madras Presidency. So when India got freedom, so the states were separated based on the languages. Based on the State Reorganization Act of 1956, the Madras Presidency was divided into many states, namely Tamil Nadu, then Andhra, Karnataka, Odisha, and new states were formed. So in the area where there were Tamil speaking people were called as Madras State. It was called as Madras State till 1969. Till 1969 it was called as Madras State. That is today's Tamil Nadu. In 1969 only, officially it was renamed as Tamil Nadu. In 1969 only, the name Tamil Nadu was given to our state. In the year of 1996 only, the name Madras was officially changed to Chennai. Before that it was called as Madras. In 1996 only, officially it was renamed as Chennai. So this is a small history about the origin and growth of Madras. So now students will know about the Madras before 17th century and agricultural land, and how the British have started their factories in Madras and how the growth of Madras have took place, and about the role played by Francis Day and the ruler Damarla Venkatapati Nayak. Okay, about them, and also about Madras Presidency and what are the areas covered in the Madras Presidency, and the year in which it was called as Tamil Nadu, that's in 1969. The year in which it was called as officially called as Chennai, that is in 1996. So in the next class, let us see another important topic.